Hey, what's up? This is Antonio. Welcome back to my channel, the Who's Ready for Some Fighting Words. In this video, I want to do a fight breakdown for Tim Tszyu versus Brian Mendoza. Really quick, if you like the videos, please take the time to subscribe to the channel. One click. Also, hit that thumbs up button. Also, one click. And if you are unfamiliar with the channel, basically how I do the fight breakdowns is I post both guys side by side. I run down a list of attributes. Whoever has more points in the end, that's the individual that I'm going with. Without further ado, let's start this thing off. I'm going to start off with heart. Which guy has more heart? So here's the thing. Both guys have been down. Both guys have been, losing fights. But only one guy has shown that he can be down in the fight or physically down, knocked down in a fight, get back up and win the fight, or be down in points, losing consecutive rounds and then win in the end. That's Tim Tszyu. So based on that, yeah, he's got more heart. He can be hurt, get back up, fight. He can be down in rounds. That's okay. He's a finisher. He's got more heart. Not saying that Mendoza doesn't have it, but he's been down in rounds and he hasn't pushed through or soldiered through. And he's been, he's been busted up before. And he didn't show that he had that extra gear to get him through the fight. Let's see. Speed. Brian Mendoza, without a shadow of a doubt. He's a fast guy. He has fast hands. I'm not going to say he doesn't have any power, but he's more of a point guy. He has more of an amateur-like system. He likes to be on the move. He's not a stationary guy. He's not going to stand in front of anybody. Definitely, it would be insane for him to stand in front of Tim Tszyu. Fast hands, fast feet, head movement, a lot of feints, a ton of feints. So when it comes to speed, Brian Mendoza. Dog. Who is my dog? Who when the going gets rough, when you're down in rounds and you're tired, you're bleeding, your left eye is shut, there's blood coming out of your nose. Who's got more dog? I got to go with Tim Tszyu. Brian Mendoza showed, in that Pandora fight that he had a lot of dog in him. I mean, to stand right there, I don't understand why he broke protocol. But for him to stand in front of him, but I don't think he can afford to do that with a power puncher like Tim Tszyu. And that's his domain. So if he does that, this fight really isn't going to last very long. But I just, honestly, when it comes to dog, who's got more dog, I got to give it to Tim Tszyu. He is more of a stationary guy. He is more of a machismo type of guy, more like, let's bring it. Not to say that he's wild or reckless or anything like that, but if you want to meet him in the center, you better believe he'll be there waiting for you. So Tim Tszyu has more dog. Willpower. I got to also go with Tim Tszyu with this. Like I said, he's been down before. He got back up and knocked this guy out. He was losing rounds. In the end, he wins. He knocks this guy out. I got to go with Tim Tszyu. Definitely got to go with Tim Tszyu. Let's see. He can soldier through. That's the thing. Not every fight's going to be easy. Not every fight's going to be a pretty fight. And Tim Tszyu's the type of guy where he's had easy fights and he's had tough fights where he's had to dig deep. And he's shown that he has the willpower to do so. Footwork. Again, Brian Mendoza. He's really great at circling guys. And this fight's going to be really interesting because if Tim Tszyu, who is good at cutting off the ring, if he can do it early enough, this fight could be a lot shorter than we think because Brian Mendoza is going to have to stand his ground. And like I just said, I don't think he has enough firepower to keep Tim Tszyu off of him. Best range. What's each guy's best range? Well, like I said, Brian Mendoza, he has to stay on the outside. He has to circle. That's his only chance for success. He's going to have to circle. Unfortunately, he's going to be on his bicycle the whole entire fight. If he wants any success, he's going to be pumping that jab also. And when in doubt, he'll throw maybe a combination of three. I wouldn't suggest he throws any more than 3 punches. I think he needs to stay on that bicycle. Tim Tszyu, honestly, he's not bad he's not bad on the outside. He's great on the inside, but he's not bad on the outside. He's a great stalker. He has a nice jab. He knows how to push guys back. He can intimidate guys. Usually when guys feel the power for the first time, they're naturally going to be intimidated, so they're going to back up anyway. So it's really on Tim Tszyu to just cut off that ring. Let's see. Confidence. Tim Tszyu is riding high right now. Tim Tszyu is not only beating guys, he's finishing guys. Listen, he's more than lived up to the last name, okay? So now it's just time for him to cement himself in legacy. But he's more than lived up the last name. Mendoza, he's got a little confidence. His last fight, he did his thing. He took his guy out. But not like Tim Tszyu. Not like Tim Tszyu. He's got a whole country behind him. And granted, Mendoza has, a country behind him as well. But Tim Tszyu is more celebrated. Tim Tszyu is more celebrated. And quite frankly, I just feel like he's smashing through the competition. So yeah, there's the thing of the name. Okay, he's conquered that. There's the thing of the competition. He's coming into that. Unfortunately, he can't get his hands on who he wants to get his hands on, but he's been crushing the competition. Got to give it to Tim Tszyu. Durability. Which guy's more durable in the fight? Who can take more punishment? Tim Tszyu. He's a bit more stocky. He's just a tough guy. He's a rugged guy. He's a real Aussie. He's not going to back down. He can take blows. He doesn't bruise as easily as Mendoza, who does bruise very easily. And listen, if some of the guys in the past who's bruised up Mendoza, almost had his eyes shut a few times or just made him bleed, what do you think Tim Tszyu's going to do? I mean, his jabs feel like right hands. So really, what do you think Tim Tszyu's going to do? I think he's going to open Mendoza up is what I think is going to happen. And I don't think Mendoza has the firepower to back him off. I think his best defense is his best offense, which is his legs and movement, and not giving Tim an easy target to track the entire fight. Let's see. Punching power. Tim Tszyu, come on, he's a finisher. Do we need to go any further? Listen, Mendoza's no pillow puncher, but he's not going to stand in a firefight with Tim Tszyu. Let's just be honest. He's not going to stand in a firefight with Tim Tszyu, and rightfully so. If he does, this is a very short fight. It's under 5 rounds. Very, very short fight. If he fights the fight that he fought with Fundora, this is a very short fight. Tim Tszyu no Fundora. Fundora is a little awkward, a little slow. He's awkward, slow, and he gets off balance a lot. Those are 3 things you're not going to see with Tim Tszyu. He's not the fastest guy in the world, but he has great timing. He's not awkward. He's always balanced. He's ready to go. And he's a great counterpuncher. So you got to have your hands full with Tim Tszyu Mendoza. Let's see. Championship mentality. Listen, Tim Tszyu, it runs through the blood. All right? And you can also see it in his brother. It runs through the blood. And he's living up to that last name. His father started something, and his sons are going to ride it out. Tim Tszyu, I'm sorry, Tim Tszyu has the more of a championship mentality. And again, he can turn it on in the last rounds. He can finish guys. He does finish guys. He's not the guy who leaves anything to the judges. Tim Tszyu. Let's see. Best weapons. Tim Tszyu, I'd probably say a shovel hook. Also that uppercut. They're lethal, they're dangerous, and they're perfectly timed. Remember, perfectly timed. So, listen, if it's at range, he can throw the shovel hook. If it's up close and personal, that uppercut is there. And again, he's going to be doing this cutting off the ring, backing guys off. And, that liver shot is always a punch away. Then you have Mendoza. I think his best weapons are his legs and his movement. A lot of feints. He's not a dumb fighter. He's a very smart, educated fighter. But styles do make fights, and I don't necessarily think this is the fight for him. Unless he stays on that bike and he stays very disciplined to being on the bike and using that jab, his other solid weapon. Let's see. Infighting. Tim Tszyu. Again, if Mendoza does the fight that he fought with Fundora, it's over. It's over. There's no way on this green earth that he survived that onslaught against Tim Tszyu. That's basically that. Now, here's another segment. Basically, it's the final thoughts. So when I look at Mendoza, here's the thing. I think he brings a lot of things to the table. I think he brings a lot of things to the table that Tony Harrison was supposed to expose in Tim Tszyu. The problem is Mendoza is no Tony Harrison. So if Tony Harrison can expose Tim Tszyu for what everyone, at least on paper or on the outside, thought that he was, I don't see how Mendoza's going to do it. Now, I will give him the credit that he is the underdog in this fight, and he was the underdog in the Fundora fight, and then he proved everybody wrong by knocking him out. However, Tim Tszyu is nowhere near a Fundora. Well, let me rephrase that. Fundora is nowhere near Tim Tszyu, period. Fundora is awkward. Fundora is slow. Fundora, he's always kind of off balance. Fundora couldn't even get proper power on those shots because he was so close to Mendoza. Now we look at Tim Tszyu. Tim Tszyu is pissed off. I've been saying for maybe 2 months now, whoever the unlucky fellow is who gets in the ring with Tim Tszyu is going to get his block knocked off. Why? Because Tim Tszyu is frustrated. Why? Because Tim Tszyu can't get his hands on Jermell Charlo. Why? Because Tim Tszyu is not going to get his hands on Jermell Charlo for some time. There's a rematch clause in that fight. He's not going to get his hands on Jermell Charlo for some time. And let's just say Jermell Charlo wins the Canelo fight. There's going to be a rematch. Let's say he loses the Canelo fight, but he loses it in an impressive fashion. There's going to be a rematch. Now, let's just say all is well with the Canelo fight. Well, guess what? Jermell Charlo is going to be fighting Terrence Crawford. Basically, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And his buddy, his stablemate, Errol Spence is moving up. Errol Spence is a big draw. Terrence Crawford right now is money. Okay, so you think anybody's going to come and like take on Tim Tszyu? No, nobody's going to do that. Tim Tszyu is annoyed. Tim Tszyu is angry. Tim Tszyu is angry at Jermell Charlo. He's angry at Canelo. And if Terrence Crawford comes in his division and bumps the line and goes all the way to the top, and he gets a title shot when he's been waiting and taking out opponents, yeah, the next guy who fights Tim Tszyu is going to get it. Guess what? Brian Mendoza is that next guy. Brian Mendoza is going. I don't really see this fight lasting 6 rounds. I think Tim Tszyu will stop Brian Mendoza. I have him winning on my chart, by the way. But I have him stopping Brian Mendoza. The only thing that I have for Mendoza is that he stays on that bike. He stays very disciplined to being on that bike, and he pumps that jab. He makes it a very, very boring fight. But he stays on that bicycle. That's the only thing that I have for him. The reality is I don't see him doing that for 12 rounds. And if you're not going to do that for 12 rounds, you're in for a heck of a night. Because, believe me, Tim Tszyu is good at cutting off that ring, and he doesn't waste punches, and he's solid with his cardio. You're going to have a long night. You're going to have a long, long, long night. A long night in that sense, if you could stay disciplined. If you can't stay disciplined, I don't see this thing going 6 rounds. I really don't. I have Tim Tszyu by either a unanimous decision, because Brian Mendoza isn't going to do anything the entire fight but run, or it's going to be Tim Tszyu by a knockout. Because Brian Mendoza is going to stand his ground and he's going to get laid out because of it. And it's not personal, but anybody who gets in the ring with Tim Tszyu right now is going to get it. He's on fire. He's angry. He's riding high on the success that he's had thus far. And unfortunately, he can't take his success to the next level because everybody is tied up in where he's stationed in his division. So whoever gets in the ring with Tim Tszyu is going to get it. They're going to get smashed. They're going to get blocked out. And that's just as simple as it is. I have Tim Tszyu winning. You tell me what you think. Tell me if you agree with this breakdown. Tell me if you don't agree. Drop your thoughts down below. As always, please like, please share, please subscribe to this channel.